What is up, ladies and gents? Today we're going to be going over the top methods you're going to be doing today, obviously, in the new Bizzy update to obviously make plenty of money, complete the tracks, and do everything optimally in this new update. We got some kind of new, literally a bunch of new plant systems. Pretty much though, once again, we are close to 150k subs, so do make sure you do subscribe because we're closing in on that. I'll have information in regards to the giveaway later in the video. Now, one thing to note with the core mechanic is obviously going to revolve. Now, what we do need to do though is figure out what plant we should be targeting and the best ways you should be targeting like this event track to boost your money and revenue. Now, one thing to note specifically around the mutations that you're really going to get, there's two new ones. You can see my hand I'm in two from this new event. There's going to be the pollinated and then honey glazed. I think honey glazed is going to have a better effect on your plant, but to get honey glazed you have to get, let me find it. So on the trade-in on the egg, you have to get it from this egg and it has to be the bear bee. The bear bee is the only way you can get the honey glazed, and everything else, so the bee, honey bee, petal bee, and queen bee are all going to give the pollinated mutation. So we do want to make sure that we are trying to figure out the best way to get this. Now, this thing does rarely come in stock, so you can just straight up buy them. That is one way you can do it. And then obviously there's dumb, want this. Like, I don't see a reason for this. So I would recommend when you can, grind the bee egg specifically. The bee egg is the only real thing that's going to matter when it comes to progression, because the bee egg is obviously not in stock frequently. And when it is in stock, buy these as well. I'll show you why in a second. When it is in stock, it is pretty rare. Now, the best thing obviously out of it is the queen bee. This one has crazy stats. Let me pull up the stats real fast. I have a picture of it. I don't actually have the queen bee yet. Now, I will do a serious amount of gambling, but this is what we're looking at. So this is the base stats. This is from the testing server, so I don't know if this still is, but every 15 minutes a nearby fruit gets the pollinated mutation. And then every 25 minutes, a random pet will refresh its cooldown, meaning this is actually really good if you think about it. So what it's going to happen is, so say if you have this queen bee mixed with another thing. So if you have two queen bees as well, that would be a really good combo. What's going to happen is whenever every 25 minutes, here, I'll bring it back up. So every 25 minutes, it's going to pretty much make a random pet in your thing just do its ability, which is pretty good. But the main thing around it is, now I'm giving away a butt ton of these seed packs. Now, if you do want to enter this giveaway, all you got to do is like and subscribe and comment your username down below to enter into the giveaway. Once again, I'm giving away 10 of these potentially, unless I gamble away all my Robux. But to enter into that giveaway, all you got to do is like and subscribe and comment your username. Really just subscribe. I'll check if you're subscribed and then poll. Like, I mean, in most scenarios, this would be decent. Like if you lucked out and got a honey queen bee, or then you only have normal bees. But another thing to note is, one thing, if you can, try to stack up on bees, like in general, just try to get as many. As you see, that's literally all I have. You just want to have as many bees as you can. Like, that's the strategy when it comes to the initial thing. And then you can be able to pretty much farm these mutations and then for the money and pretty much just stay active in that. Now, the next thing we're going to be looking at are the new plants. Now, as you saw, I got a pack. Now, these flower packs are going to potentially give you the chance to get the mythical, or not mythical, I think it's divine rare of the sunflower. There it was. So the sunflower is the best one by far. This thing is almost on par with like a candy blossom right now. So if you can get that, I would obviously try to get that. I might do some gambling later to try to get that. Now, I don't encourage, my unwise actions. Now, will I be able to make progression fast? Now, what we're going to look at though is, so you can buy them. This is one thing to note. The paid ones are obviously worth more. In this rainbow one right here, it's going to allow you to re-roll them, but the difference is these are all going to be rainbow variants. Now, the rainbow variants not only have way higher chances of getting rainbow plants, but additionally, you're also going to have that plant. So like a rainbow variant is going to be like the whole crop itself is rainbow, and then that crop itself also has a very higher, like way higher chance to get rainbow plants out of that, which obviously means way money in return. But so this is very much pay to win. Anyways, though, if you can get the hands on a sunflower, this thing's really. Anyways, though, what was the one I just got? Hold on. I got a. Did I just plant? I guess I did. Hold on. I need to figure out what I just got. I could probably just go back in the recording, but I'm way too late. A rose bush. Can I poke my? The other one was not a daffodil. I have foxgloves. I don't think it's that. Anyways, though, what we're going to be looking at next is the things you should probably be trying wire in this update. Now, one of the main things is obviously try to get these mutations early in, but probably should go into more of like an outline just to make like my script says over here. But so what we're going to focus on with this thing is the money you can get. So they did finally, I think, patch the sprinkler method. This crushed me when I rejoined, and I'm like, what? All my plants aren't freaking huge, giving me like infinite money. And as you notice, I only have 8 billion. I accidentally bought this thing right here way too many times. That annoyed me. Holy bro. I was literally like, I have it on stream, but I was literally like, oh my gosh. I was like, oh, that's in it now. And then I jitter clicked it, and then my money was just gone immediately. And I was like, whoa, dang. I just had 40. Why do I only have 30 now? Oh, wait, no, never mind. Oh, yeah, I'm in. Anyways, the next thing we're going to be looking at is the pollinated mutation. Now, I don't believe there's a direct, I don't think anyone has like the value increase this has. Let me try to figure this out. Okay, so this is a pollinated wet grape, and then this is a wet grape. So if I go to sell, pull up a grape, this normal wet grape sells for, now they're pretty much about the same case, literally 0.03 off. This one sells for, this one has pollinated, which sells for 38,000. So it's like a 2x multiplier, it looks like. So the pollinated mutation is going to double sell value on stuff, which that's not bad. But once again, I do feel like you'll get better value out of it if it's obviously a bigger crop. That's another thing I really like about this is it's a matter of how big the crop is rather than its rarity, because that was the issue with the lunar track is the higher the rarity of the crop itself was the actually better like return when you got the lunar points. But for this one, it's completely different, and it's more of just the size of the plant in kg. So you have to give up to 10 kg each time, and which is I do think that's better, because then that allows more people to grind it. That's why I do think their player count way higher right now than last week after their update, which is pretty smart if you think about it. Anyways, though, the next thing we're going to be looking at is how you can get progress off start. So pretty much the way this is going to work is on the swarm event. So this starts every hour. You know, the chubby little thing right there. What's going to happen is the bees are going to come into your garden, all that. They're going to pollinate your plant. When they pollinate your plants, obviously, there's not a chance, the guaranteeable chance, but they'll usually pollinate, I think, like 5 to 6. Pretty much the same way with the last one. And if you were dumb enough to put these things down, they're there forever. And I don't think the night staff is going to do anything. Oh, wait, no. Are they gone from my inventory? Oh, no. They're called star callers. Yeah, I have a ton of these still. Anyways, though, the thing, though, is plant's size is what you really need to hyper focus on. So, like, honestly, for value, I really don't think it's worth, like, if you have a moon blossom, to get rid of blossom if you have that, rather than if it's like a chunky moon melon and then trade to that in. Because if you trade in a big moon melon and then, you know, as you saw before, they're usually around 8 to 9 kg. And then if you do want to check this out, I have a website with a calculator on it for crops and stuff. So you can see values and all this. So let me pull it up real fast. So this way you can see the value. So on the website, it'll look like this. Scroll down, and then you'll see the value list. Now, I do think this is maybe not updated yet. Oh, no, it is updated. That's nice. Okay, so what you're going to do, right, is you can see the value. So obviously, there's not everything in this yet. They're still adding, figuring out the base values and all that stuff. But as we can see, nothing, right? And you get the pollinated is, I think, a double, right? And then here it is, honey glazed. Honey glazed is, it looks like 5x almost on the value of a plant, which is pretty good. So if we pull out a carrot, and then that carrot's 18, right? If we set this to, can we get it to be like exactly 10? Or what about like exactly 20? No, oh wait, never mind. What about exactly 10? Never mind, that's the lowest. Okay, list. This is going to be a really helpful website. I'll try to put this in the description if I can remember to. Once again, no promises. I kind of am very forgetful when it comes to crap like that. Is an oopsie on my behalf. Anyways, though, when it comes to this, I would recommend stacking up on like just grinding your ever-loving crap out when it comes to trying to get honey. So I would say in like a list almost, you need to start off with grinding, right? To try to get as many honey eggs as possible. That's like the first do list. And then the next thing is going to be try to then grind after that all of your crops, like try to grind as much honey as you can, and then buy the seed packs every single time. This way you can pretty much stack up on as many as you can. This will allow you to pretty much make a decent amount of money on top of that. But regardless though, the main priority is getting the sunflower as shown before. It is overpowered and it's like a candy blossom moment, which is really busted. But anyways though, with that, that's probably going to be the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If this video helped you out, make sure to leave a like, and I'll see you on the next one.